Greetings and welcome to Connecting with Nitin Show. I'm your host Muhammad Awais. On this episode, we have a very amazing personality. She is the well-being coach, founder of the Educators Path to Freedom, Kim Brooks. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Kim Brooks. Kim, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Okay. Well, I was an elementary teacher, a reading specialist, and a literacy coach for 18 years. I taught in Maryland, Morocco, and Taiwan. And I loved teaching. It was my passion. But I was always on. I was overworked. I was exhausted. I was constantly pushing through stress. And I ended up taking my first yoga class back when I was in college, but yoga didn't quite click for me at that point until I found teachers who um, were weaving in the ancient wisdom and the philosophy of yoga. And I was an international teacher, so I traveled the world, and I just started noticing that through my stress and everything, no matter where I was always seeking yoga and meditation and Reiki and breath work and these holistic practices to help me be calm in my body. And so they were kind of becoming more than just hobbies, and they really were keeping me grounded. They were like my lifeline. Um, and so being around all these people all over the world that were also interested in some of the same things that I just kind of made a big shift. So that curiosity and always wanting to be in these practices turned into my calling. And I took a leap of faith. I left the classroom and decided to dive into these practices and taking trainings. And I studied pretty deeply for 2 years. And I continue to learn and grow and be surrounded by people now in this wellness world, but also teachers who have kind of taken this path as well. So I use everything that I've learned in my studies and certifications to help other educators find freedom from burnout, to reclaim their energy, and just create a life for themselves that really feels good, one that they want to wake up to. And so I created the Educator's Path to Freedom so teachers could break free from these physical symptoms of stress and burnout, and not be adding another thing onto their plate, but helping them rewire their body and their mind so that they can release stress at the nervous system, through the nervous system, and clearing these deep energy blocks so that they can have long lasting change.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Kim. What is
Sure.
your higher purpose in life?
My higher purpose is, I think education is just a part of who I am, being a teacher, working with other people, guiding people, and now guiding people, especially educators and other service-based professionals, out of survival mode and into this place of feeling more ease and joy and fulfillment, and making that their natural state. For years, I was in that state of stress and overworking, and that was like my baseline, which I was never bringing my body into that rest state. But the practices, yoga and meditation and breath work and energy healing, helped me to kind of honor that ambitious side of myself and my well-being. And so my mission is to really share these tools with other people, especially people who are giving so much of themselves to others and not always giving back to themselves. They're just taking in all of this energy. And I know that when they learn how to regulate their nervous system and set boundaries and reconnect with themselves, that they'll be able to teach and lead and live with more presence and purpose. And I feel like this is really the foundation of everything that we do. So when we're showing up, taking care of ourselves, we're just like radiating that energy out to everyone around us. And so, yeah, that's kind of what the educator's path to freedom is this embodiment of calm, peace, joy, and just feeling it at a cellular level.
That's a great purpose.
Mm.
What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
Um, well, in my long life so far here, uh, I've had a lot of challenges, and many are like self-induced challenges. So I teaching was really demanding. And over time, the stress just took a toll on my physical health, my mental health. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia around 2013, and I struggled with chronic pain and fatigue and gut issues, brain fog. And I saw specialists and doctor after doctor, and each was giving me these conflicting solutions, most involving taking a pill every day. And each of those had their own side effects. And it took me a really long time to realize that the root of my health issues really was stress. And that realization changed everything. When I started teaching internationally, that's when I had a little more like space and freedom in my life. And I could really see the benefits of living my life differently. And then another challenge was just like feeling stuck in this profession that didn't feel aligned with my values and my vision any longer. I believe teaching is a calling. I believe it was my calling at that time. But the reality of the rigid schedules and the endless testing and the increasing demands just really started encroaching on my need for creativity and autonomy. There was just like constant changes in the education system with the curricula, with technology, and it was harder to meet the needs of my students. And I was a reading specialist, so I was working with teachers in their classrooms and trying to support them. But I was kind of up against this system that I really wasn't feeling aligned with anymore. So it was hard for me to coach teachers and be the voice of this system that I didn't feel connected with. And then, yeah, it's just kind of all like you put your heart and soul into this career. Like I had a master's degree, and I just felt like my professionalism wasn't being respected either. Teachers' voices are often ignored, and there's growing class sizes and growing emotional needs of students with those big class sizes. And then a lack of support and resources that I needed just weren't available. So I just had to make that tough decision to leave a job that I actually loved. But I knew I needed to put my health and well-being first. And again, that's really what led me to where I am now. And then a third challenge would be just taking this leap of faith without a real solid plan. I just took some time off and I traveled, didn't have a clear roadmap. There was no one who I knew had done this before me. And so that was pretty terrifying. And I knew that staying was going to cost me my health and my well-being. I could see it in myself. I was like getting frustrated very easily. And so through these practices, I had coaches and therapists and different people supporting me. And I just developed a trust in myself. I invested in my learning, and I just slowly built this new path, which has led me where I am today and helping other educators and service-based professionals, anyone who's really like giving fully and not filling themselves back up. So although they were challenges, I feel like they are also kind of blessings and what led me here.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Okay. Well, kind of like I just said, I feel like my failures were all blessings in disguise. In the moment they felt like failures. I felt like the world was like crashing around me. But now I feel like they're the universe just telling me to take a different road. That I was just bumping up against the wall, things weren't feeling aligned. And I think we all experience these moments that feel like failure. And then on the other side, we just feel this sense of resilience and a sense of, I don't know, peace and calm. It's just stepping into this new version. And so I feel like all these failures, I guess, that I've had in my job, relationships, things like that, were when I wasn't listening to my inner wisdom. I would stay in a situation too long, maybe questioning, self-doubt, all of that coming up. And I've always been the kind of person who's determined to not fail. And so that was a challenge in itself and also caused a lot of stress. But in that, not wanting to fail, I would just like kind of pick myself up, like do what I needed to do, ask for the support I needed, and just move forward. I felt like that was the only option, is I just had to like move from that failure place into like, what's next? Now, sometimes in the past, that was me sort of bypassing emotions and things like that and pushing through. So now I've come to this place of finding more balance and being able to recognize when this is unhelpful. And yeah, I can quickly now see when I'm out of alignment. I can see when I'm in that like feeling like a failure place or feeling like things aren't going well. And it's like I'm this like person witnessing it. And I do what I need to do to take care of myself in that moment.
What is the most impactful book you have read and what did you learn from it?
Ooh, the most impactful book I've read. Hmm. I've read so many books and like in different categories. I've been in many, many, many book clubs. So really just these conversations about books get me really excited. Anything by Brene Brown is like hands down has been so helpful and impactful to me in my life. And she really hones in on vulnerability and just kind of stepping through your fears. Her book, Dare to Lead, helps in that like leadership role of guiding others.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
Over the next 12 months, I will continue to be working with educators one-on-one, leading in-person and virtual workshops and visiting schools around the world. I've been offering these relaxation sessions and teaching tips and tools that teachers can use with their students. And aside from my one-on-one coaching sessions with teachers, I also want to step into leading retreats. And so I'll be leading 2 retreats in Bali this May, which I'm very excited about. And then beyond that, just deepening my own practice, following where this path leads. I know I'm guided and supported, and I'm committed to transforming the lives of educators so they can show up for themselves and their students with more ease and flow and energy and purpose. And I feel like when I first stepped into this entrepreneurial role, I wanted to learn everything, and I still do, but I had to kind of take a pause on how much information I was consuming and now putting it into practice for myself and for my clients. So I have a spreadsheet with all the courses that I want to take, and then I'm just sort of letting that marinate and thinking about what specific course or learning is next for me. So for anyone out there that's overwhelmed by lots and lots of choices as you look at the entire year ahead of you, it's helpful to just make a list and kind of set things aside and then start prioritizing.
What advice you will give to younger yourself?
I would tell my younger self not to take things so seriously. Success is not about this grinding and hustling culture that we are finding ourselves in. It's about creating a life that aligns with our values and our personal gifts, and coming up with your own definition of success. I feel like I really took in what everyone else thought success looked like and tried so hard to fit into this box. And I've come to realize like money, abundance shows up in many different ways, and you don't have to follow this traditional path to be a responsible, productive member of society. So I'd remind myself to trust my gut, to release the guilt, and know that freedom and joy and ease are allowed, and give myself permission to experience that more freely.
That's a great advice. How can we support you?
I would be grateful for your support, sharing this conversation with others, connecting me with heart-led educators who are feeling the weight of stress and burnout, and they've tried different things, but they're just not feeling it, like embodying it, experiencing that long-lasting transformation. So just sharing with anyone who this might resonate with. Yeah, any connection makes a difference.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
Well, it has been an honor to be here and to share my journey, share my work, share my, I guess, my highest version of myself right now. And I know that there's so many teachers out there just pouring their time and their energy and their heart into their work. And maybe they're feeling that same stress and exhaustion that I once did. And so I really am grateful that I'm able to maybe shine a little light for someone. And I'm hoping this conversation reminds them that there is support out there. They don't have to navigate this alone. There's support.
Thank you for your kind words. What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
If anyone, educator, anyone, are feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and stuck in that cycle of stress, it just feels repetitive. Know that you're not alone. It's normal. We're surrounded by this every day. And it also doesn't have to be this way. You can protect your energy. You can regulate your nervous system. You have the power to take care of yourself. So I'm here as a guide to support you through this process so that you're not having to do it alone. And so you have a little bit of a roadmap, but it's your personalized roadmap, because everyone is different. And so instead of looking what everyone else is doing and reading this like list of 10 things to help you feel better, really start listening to yourself, starting with really small steps, whether it's like setting a boundary or making rest a priority or asking for help. You are worthy of freedom and ease and flow and joy. And if this resonated with you, I'm offering a free one-on-one energy activation session for a limited time. So anyone who's listening, reach out. It's a free 60-minute session, and I'm happy to talk with you and see what might be supportive for you. So you can send me a message on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Connecting with the Intent community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Wes. Until the next episode, all good.